All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
어디? 어디로 가자고? 메모?
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he
알아, 새끼야.
co-workers. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
여기서 오른쪽이야? 그 전방? 이제 여기 못 가는데? 왼쪽 계단 아래?
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
그래? 내가 하고 싶은 대로 할게.
Coming
여기
to a
내려가는
staircase,
데도 있었네?
Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
무서워. 나 깜깜한 거 싫은데.
But
차다.
Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense.
야, 난 그리고 게임한다고 나레이션 읽지도 못해.
Other strange observations.
너네라도 좀 잘 읽어라.
Why did he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close
맞아,
automatically
왜 자동으로
behind him
닫히지?
wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that
여기 아까 거기잖아.
his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming! He yelled.
이건 꿈일 거야!
All a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is
안녕, 페인트 동학.
as he's ever
너는
been in his
어디서
life.
왔니?
Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain beyond a doubt that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything
또 다시 돌아가겠지 뭐.
I am okay.
진지한 엔딩만 보시네. 꿀잼도 있는데. 진짜야? 뭐야?
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
왜 이렇게 무서워, 왜 이렇게?
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
마리엘레라? 뭐야, 쟨 또?
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
저 나레이션 중에 한 70%는 못 알아듣겠어. 했던 말 또 하고, 했던 말 또 하고, 아무튼. 제가 지금까지 느낀 건요, 그냥 현실에 만족하자. 난 그냥 이거 키보드나 누르고 싶어, 진짜. 난 내가 저기 가고 움직이고 싶지도 않고, 난 그냥 여기서 일하고 싶다고. 그니까 평소에 행복함을 느끼면서 살라 이거야? 뭔데? 문 닫을 수도 있네? 그래, 나 여기서 일하게 해줘.
Handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No. This couldn't go anywhere except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me.
맞아, 나 여기서 행복해.
Here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days.
몇 년이 지났다고?
He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
씨발.
A soft wind blew outside and perhaps rain started. And if it did, it stopped. Stanley hoped that he would one day see weather.
비 오는 소리 들린다. 뭐지? 살려줘. 전화주기. 다음 방에 메모가 있다고. 일단 잠시만요. 여기 일단 나가라는 거죠? 그죠? 나가서 이 방인가? 이 방 아닌가? 그냥 돌아다녀? 뭐야 저긴? 여긴 뭐지? 처음 보는데? 안 열린다. 못 가요? 그래요? 다 안 열리나봐. 핀 줄 알았네. 뒤? 여긴 열리네? 어디 말하는 거지? 몰라. 야, 나 그냥 알아서 한다. 씨발, 니네 말 들으니까 더 정신없어. 몰라.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, this was not the correct way to
아까
the
거기?
meeting room. and
씨발,
Stanley
닫지
knew
마.
it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
아까 전화기 방?
The lounge
휴게실을
was
지나서
sublime, a work of art. What was it about this room that called? But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
여기 뭐지? 아까 거긴가? 거기였나? 여기 맞나?
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired
내가
years ago.
길치라가지고.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you...
다리로 떨어진 거 아까 해봤어요.
Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself.
아까 했는데 다시 태어나고 끝나더라고.
I'm asking for
또 다시 시작이더라고. 저기. 미안.
This is it, Stanley.
이게 내
Your
운명이야.
chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
안녕. 또 보네. 여기 아닌가?
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to... Oh, no, you can't... Did you just unplug the phone? No, that wasn't supposed to be a choice. How did you do that? You actually chose incorrectly? I didn't even know that was possible. Let me double check. No, it's definitely here, clear as day. Stanley picks up the phone. He's taken to his apartment where he finds his wife, and the two pledge themselves to one another. Music comes in, fade to white, roll credits. Not picking up the phone is actually somehow an incorrect course of action. How is that even possible? None of these decisions were supposed to mean anything. I don't understand. How on earth are you making meaningful choices? What did you... Wait a second. Did I just see... No, that's not possible. I can't believe it. How had I not noticed it sooner? You're not Stanley. You're a real person. I can't believe I was so mistaken. This is why you've been able to make correct and incorrect choices.
스탠리가 아니라고?
And to think I've been letting you run around in this game for so long. If you'd made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely. It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making. Or did you not grasp the severity of the situation? Well, I won't have that kind of risk on my watch. I'm going to stop the game for a moment so we can educate you properly on safe decision-making in the real world.
현실 세계 올바른 의사결정?
Instructional video.
Choice. It's the best part of being a real person. But if used incorrectly, can also be the most dangerous. For example, in this scenario, a hypothetical
자막이라도 나와주던가.
has a choice. He could spend years helping improve the quality of life for citizens of impoverished third world nations. Or he could systematically set fire to every orphan living in a 30-kilometer radius of his house. Which choice would you make? Remember that unlike here, the real world makes sense. And at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real. Allow the person to finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back, sack, and crack."
끝났다.
Excellent.
이제 자막 나오네.
Choices on a regular basis is the best part to a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day. Do you make more than 8? Less? And finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should subside. At this time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
플라이님 팬가입 고마워요.
Welcome back.
뭐야 여긴?
You may have noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative contradiction. But not to worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision-making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago and see what the correct thing to do would have been. This way, please.
절로 가라고? 또 뽑으라고요? 못 뽑아요.
Now that we know your choices are meaningful, we can't have you jump.
뭐야? 아이씨, 막아놨어, 양아치 새끼.
Main character dying senselessly halfway through the story. That story would make no sense at all. We just need to get you home as soon as possible. Narrative contradiction gets any worse. Unfortunately, it seems this place is not well equipped to deal with reality.
그럼 나 이제 어디로 가지? 집에 갈 수 있는 건가? 아까 거기로 돌아가진 않겠지?
Almost there. You'll take the door on the left, back to the correct ending, the story will have resolution once again, and you'll be home free in the real world.
진짜 세계의 집으로 돌아갈 수 있다고?
Now remember, all you need to do is behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
여기도 열리긴 하네.
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not too late.
여기 막 무슨 시공간이 뒤틀렸어. 뭐야? 오, 씨발, 뭐 지진 났나벼. 여기 또 안 열리네. 아씨. 아니, 뭐, 말을 들을 수밖에 없게 해놓고, 어쩌라는 거야. 일로 와야 되잖아, 어쩔 수 없이.
It's ruined. I can't believe, after everything we talked about, that my story, you've destroyed my work. Why? For what? What did you get out of that? What did you think was so special about seeing the game undone, left here like so much garbage? It's worthless now. And what am I supposed to do? Even if there were a way to continue, would it be worth it? To know that my story is now incorrect? How can I go back to that? I can't erase that knowledge. I'll have to live with it forever, reliving its impossibility forever. I couldn't live that way. Is it better to shut the game down entirely? To willingly destroy all of my work? I don't know. What's the answer? What do I do? What do I do? What do I... No, I have to. I have to shut the game down. I have to. I have to.
내가 게임을 끄라는 얘기? 오, 뭐야. 뭐지? 아이고.
I'm here. I'm still here. Here in this pile of rubbish. With you. You. Who thought you were so clever. Now look where we are. My entire game is destroyed.
아, 왜 점점 무서워져. 나 이런 거 싫어.
Run it into the ground. What, did you think that would be funny? You just had to see? Didn't I impress upon you how important it was to be like Stanley? He actually knows how to do what I tell him to. He understands that if I say to do something, there's a damn good reason for it. That thought hadn't even occurred to you, had it? That there's a world outside of you? You're a child. Oh, my story. If you'd just gone through the door on the left, you would have seen it. There was a whole underground facility. You would have destroyed it and been victorious. It would have been so perfect. I worked so hard on it. I tried so hard. Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
안 열리는데?
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
여기 원래 열려
Stepping
있었나?
inside his manager's office, Stanley was once again
여기 처음
stunned to
보는데?
discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, until he saw the door with a voice receiver next to it. Surely behind this door lay all the answers to his questions. And beyond all probability, he knew the passcode. He had seen it on his boss's computer just last week. Night Shark 115. Was this the code to open the door? Would it still work? There was only one way to find out. Stanley had been trained never to speak up, but now he would draw from within himself the courage to face the unknown. He drew a sharp breath and then spoke the code. Stanley spoke the code. Night Shark 115. He spoke it into the receiver, right there on the wall.
열려라, 참깨.
I'm sorry, is there a problem? You didn't mishear me, did you? Please speak the code into the receiver. Otherwise we can't get on with the story. This is a crucial step.
아니 이게 음성 지원이라고요?
Gonna do it, but you know what? It's pretty humiliating to bring you this far, only for you to suddenly decide you have better things to do.
진짜로?
I asked you for
그게
this
돼?
one single thing, for your respect. The kind of respect Stanley shows for his choices. He knows what it means to
나이트
take a
샤크
story
115.
seriously. If you didn't want to see what I had to show you, then why did you come here? You had a choice, you know. You could have gone through the door on the right. You could have done whatever the hell you wanted over there. Why did you come this
또
way?
화났다.
Speak.
아,
Say
짜증나.
something to me. Explain yourself, you coward. When Stanley came to a set of two open doors,
뭐야 여기? 우와 3인칭 됐다. 전지적 작가 시점이다.
Stanley? Hello? Are you... Is everything okay? Stanley, please. I need you to make a choice. I need you to walk through the door. Are you listening to me?
뭐야?
Can you hear me? Is everything alright? Stanley, this is important.
이게 엔딩이에요?
It needs you to make a decision. It cannot exist without you. Do you understand me? Whatever choice you make is just fine. They're both correct. You cannot be wrong here. We can work together. I'll accept.
뭐가 소름이라는 거예요? 저는 모르겠는데요?
Step forward, please. Choose. Do something. Anything. This is more important than you can ever know. I need this. The story needs it. So, you hear me? Are you there? Are you listening to this? Stanley, are you there? Okay. It's okay, I can wait. You need time to decide. Time to make sure your choice is correct. That is the best choice. That's all right.
와 형이 이 엔딩 처음인가봐. 뭔 소리야 그게?
Take as much time as you need.
제가 해설자였다고요? 나레이션이 나였다고? 다른 사람들은 진짜 엔딩 처음 본대요. 그게 뭔 소리야? 아니 님이 플레이어인데 스탠리에서 빠져나온 거라고요. 자유로운 영혼이 된 거야 형. 방금 게 진 엔딩인데 처음 본다고. 엔딩이 수십 게임. 스탠리가 자기 자신을 찾은 거 아니? 형은 스탠리에서 분리되고 해설자가 계속 백형 생각을 읽었던 게 형이 해설자였기 때문이라고. 그게 뭔 얘기지? 아무튼 엔딩을 처음 본다는 건 뭔 소리예요? 그니까 아니 나레이션 읽고 있어. 읽고 있는데도 나 일부러 지금 막 멘트도 안 치고 나레이션만 읽잖아. 오, 전화 온다. 뭐지? 어떤 거야? 이거야? 저거 맞나? 어떻게 봤지? 안 받아지는데?
Good morning. Thank you for contacting the Future Happiness Foundation. We are confirming your shipment of 1,327 cardboard boxes to your place of work. Can you verify that this is correct?
이거 맞는데? 책상 올라가봐요. 어떻게 올라가? 점프가 안 되는데?
Understood. Your order will be canceled immediately. Thank you again for contacting the Future Happiness Foundation.
어? 아, 이거야? 이미 주웠는데? 꺼졌어. 아, 하긴 이거는 옛날 재래식이구나. 아, 지송. 의자에 몸을 비비면 올라가진다고요? 되네 진짜. 근데 뭐 안돼. 싫어. 난 일단 난 이 게임에 뭘 찾아야겠어. 야 근데 왜 그 새끼야 왜 안 씹으려?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
잠깐만. 야 해설충 나왔다. 이 게임 내에서 스탠리라는 존재는 본인의 의지가 없는 존재예요. 그런데 명령을 거부하고 계속 의지를 가지니 해설자는 형이 스탠리가 아닌 플레이어라는 것을 알게 된 거죠. 해설자는 계속해서 형에게 행동을 지시했지만 형은 명령에 따르지 않았고 비로소 스탠리가 아닌 형으로서 자유롭게 자유를 갖는 것입니다. 난 저거 들어도 잘 모르겠어.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Okay, I think we all know the drill by now. Blah, blah, blah. Dark secrets, the keypad. Stanley pushes some buttons. Oh, hey, look, it's a new passageway. Quelle surprise.
이제 그냥 열어주네. 야, 근데 저거 아까 음성 지원 된다는 거 진짜야? 그거 아니면 나 놀린 거야? 원래 그게 그렇게 되는 거야? 아니면은 내가 진짜 뻥이야? 니네 왜 그러냐? 난 진짜인 줄 알았잖아. 뭐야, 여기.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word Escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
잔인한 죽음?
But of course, Stanley thought better of it and realized he simply had too much to live for. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
잠겼잖아. 여기 더 없다고? 그래? 미안.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers, the lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true.
야, 이거 게임 다시 시작하면 어디서부터 다시 시작되는 거야?
Someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
아예 처음 시작? 아예? 그걸 아무도 모른다고요?
No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never.
아예 처음?
It was
그래?
unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was
야, 이런 거는 그냥 멍청한 새끼들은 네이버에 게임 이름 친 다음에 리뷰 이런 거 검색해가지고 엔딩 해석이나 쳐보는 게 낫지. 직접 하는 건 돈 낭비에, 시간 낭비에, 뇌 낭비에, 멘탈 낭비 같아.
Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes, he had won.
아, 이거 스킵 안 되나? 아, 나도 알지. 이거 본 엔딩은 알지. 그냥 빨리 끝내려고 그랬지.
Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened.
아니, 나는 내가 한 건지 안 한 건지 내가 모르니까 몰랐지.
How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing.
우리 AVA님 안녕하세요. 아직 보고 계시네요. 50개 또 감사합니다. 고마워요.
The cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
뭘 나가지 마. 내가 분명히 또 안 나가면 아무 일도 안 생기니까 빨리 나가 이럴 거잖아. 먹어님 감사합니다. 나 빨리 아까 그 탈출인가 뭔가 거기 가려고 지금 빨리 끝내려고 그러는 거야 이거.